So, the prerequisites of health are by the World Health Organization, and they're sort of essential factors that the WHO says that need to be in place first before health can be achieved. So, if we want to achieve optimal health and well-being, we kind of have to have these 9 prerequisites in place first. So, you can use a acronym for this. I found it really helpful. There's PES fries or PESIFIS. I use this one here. People should eat food, including some sustainable salad every day. I don't know why that one kind of just stuck with me, but I recommend using an acronym for these as they can get a little bit confusing. So, we've got peace, education, shelter, food, sustainable resources, income, equity, social justice, and stable ecosystem. So we'll just quickly go through each of these as they're pretty straightforward, but just in case you're a little bit confused, we'll just quickly run over them. So peace is the absence of conflict. Governments can reorient funds required to sustain a war effort and instead invest in healthcare. So rather than spending money on buying equipment like military equipment, we can invest in healthcare, education, trade, social security, more sort of beneficial things than just fighting in a war. So conflict could be landmines, child soldiers, abuse of human rights, increased violence, rape, sexual assault, harassment, exclusion, imprisonment. Lots of examples there. Infrastructure, not damage from conflict. That means more people can be employed, receive education, receive healthcare. Whereas if that's my Apple Watch. If these buildings are destroyed, people can't really go and study or go to the hospital. So by keeping that infrastructure maintained without sort of having war destroying everything, these 3 factors are sort of maintained, which is really important for people's health and development. We've also got reduced risk of displacement, reduced refugees. Shelter, we've got a structure that provides protection from the outside environment. Might be good to just know that definition, as shelter is sort of a weird term to define, so just to be aware of it is always good. So adequate shelter provides protection and a safe place for people to spend their time. Safe water, sanitation, preventing those infectious communicable diseases. Awesome. Education, so literacy and numeracy are needed to seek employment, earn an income, which an income's needed to provide food, water, healthcare, everything. So we need that education to get a job. And also education, we need health literacy to understand what keeps us healthy. So for people to be educated and understand how to take control over their health, so for example, practicing safe sex, washing hands, getting vaccinated, that really helps people to maintain their health and well-being as well. So education can also break the cycle of poverty. So education is very crucial. So that is why it is a prerequisite of health. Food, so food security means we've got nutritiously adequate food all year round. We're able to access food at all times. We're not sort of running low or starving or anything like that. So this strengthens the functioning of the immune system, which prevents communicable diseases such as malaria or measles. Allows us to have enough energy to attend school and work, and can prevent malnourishment and stunting and wasting when we're growing. And if you didn't know what those terms are, there you go. Income, so this is obviously important as it allows people to afford food, healthcare, shelter to ensure a decent standard of living. It prevents poor mental health from financial stress. Higher individual incomes allow for higher tax revenue for the government. So that means that the country as a whole can also spend more on improving our education systems, healthcare systems, social security systems, social support systems, everything like that. So it's very important that people can be provided with an income. So a stable ecosystem, this one gets a little bit confused. I used to get a little bit confused with sustainable resources and a stable ecosystem, but basically an ecosystem, if you've done bio, this might make a little bit more sense to you, but is a community that consists of all living and non-living things of an area. So by having a stable ecosystem, this ensures that basic resources needed for survival, so things like food and water, can be regenerated at the same rate that they're used up. So we won't run out and cause starvation or run out of water and sort of suffer dehydration or have to use unclean water. We want to make sure that the rate that we're using those resources, they're being replenished. So we're in a stable area. We're not overusing the resources of that area. And it also provides predictable weather patterns which can reduce levels of stress, as that's sort of the weather patterns really impact their income and their ability to work. So sustainable resources. So this one is different to a stable ecosystem, as sustainability refers to meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So it is a little bit related to stable ecosystem, except for this one, rather than talking about the actual environment we're in, we're talking about sort of practices we can use to ensure that the resources we have can be regenerated at a stable rate. So we're not so much talking about the environment, but more about the actual resources that we have. So current resources required for good health and well-being, for example, energy production, food, water, employment, housing, and healthcare, are available for future generations. So things like sustainable use of fossil fuels, as well as responsible use of natural resources. So replanting crops, also having like a sustainable water system that cleans water and like brings it back in. All sorts of things like that can help to ensure we have sustainable resources so that we've kind of always got them. Social justice, equal rights and opportunities. So this is about equality, making sure that everyone, no matter what characteristics they have, is treated the same. They're given the same resources, the same opportunities as everyone. So everyone is equal. Whereas if we look at equity, this is a bit different. This is about fairness and leveling the playing field. If we want to look at it like that, I think that's quite helpful. So social justice is giving everyone the same, so everyone's giving this same size box, whereas equity is about giving those that are disadvantaged more of an advantage so that everyone is sort of balanced out. So we're leveling the playing field, so because this little guy is very short, we're going to help him up so he can see, whereas this guy over here doesn't really need a box because he can already see. So this diagram, if you don't understand equity and social justice and how they're different, use this diagram, as I found this really helped me.